Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our East Brunswick Council meeting for June 10th, 2024. Will everyone please rise if you can and join with me as we pledge allegiance to our flag and remain standing as we remember the passing of Rick Ogrodnik from our Public Works Department, who worked with the Township since 1988. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Township Clerk, please call a roll and read our statement of adequate notice.
Councilmember Hall? Absent. Councilman Wendell?
Here.
Councilwoman Winston?
Here.
Councilwoman Zambicki?
Here.
Council President McAvoy?
Here.
Also present, Mayor Brad Cohen?
Here.
Administrator Joseph Criscullo?
Here.
And Township Attorney Anthony Iacoca.
Here.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided as required under Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, by specifying the time, date, location, and to the extent known, the agenda, by posting a copy on the bulletin board located in the main lobby of the East Brunswick Municipal Building, providing a copy to the Home News Tribune and the Asbury Park Press newspapers, posting a copy on the Township's website, and by filing a copy in the office of the Township Clerk, which will be entered into the minutes.
Thank you. Council, you have before you Resolution 24. Council, you have before you Resolution 24-182, adopting our meeting minutes from 5/30/2024. May I have a motion?
Motion approved.
Second?
Second.
Is there any need for correction and/or clarification at this time? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zambicki?
Yes.
And Council President McAvoy.
Yes. We have two proclamations to be entered into the record. The first is recognizing VFW Post 133 for the Traveling Vietnam Memorial Wall, and the second is recognizing June 2024 as LGBTQ+ Pride Month. Mayor Cohen, will you handle the traveling wall, please?
Certainly. I do certainly hope that a lot of people here had the opportunity to see the Vietnam Wall that was up or during Memorial Day. It was quite a sight and a lot of work that it took to get that here, and a tremendous amount of cooperation from all the departments, but not the least of which was the VFW itself. And so this proclamation tonight is on behalf of the township and in recognition of all the work that it took to get that here. And the proclamation reads as follows. Whereas the dedicated members of the Veterans of Foreign War Memorial Post 133 applied to the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Fund to host the Traveling Vietnam Memorial Wall. VFW Post 133 held numerous fundraisers and received donations from other organizations, businesses, and individual donors to help fund the endeavor. Whereas built in 1998, the Traveling Vietnam Memorial Wall is 3/5 the scale of the Vietnam Memorial in Washington, D.C. It stands 6 feet tall at the center and covers almost 300 feet from end to end. This wall contains the names of U.S. military personnel who lost their lives in the Vietnam War. It was made for the purpose of helping heal and rekindle friendships and to allow people the opportunity to visit loved ones in their hometown who otherwise may not be able to make the trip to Washington, D.C. And whereas the Traveling Vietnam Memorial Wall was escorted to the East Brunswick Community Arts Center by Rolling Thunder, active and veteran members of the Armed Forces, EBPD, and surrounding police departments, the East Brunswick Fire Department, local servicemen and women, and township and county officials. The display was free and open to the public 24 hours a day from Thursday, May 23rd to Monday, May 27th, 2024. VFW Post 133, in coordination with the Township of East Brunswick, organized numerous Memorial Day observance ceremonies. Now therefore be it proclaimed that I, Brad J. Cohen, Mayor of the Township of East Brunswick, along with our Township Council, extend our sincere gratitude to VFW Post 133 for making it possible for many individuals to visit the traveling Vietnam Memorial Wall, given under my hand and the Great Seal of the Township of East Brunswick this 10th day of June in the year 2024. Thank you. I'm going to leave this with you, Tommy, and hopefully a few words from anyone that would like to.
Yes, Mayor Cohen, thank you. Town Council, thank you. A couple of people, some people in here I'd like to thank tonight. Kevin McAvoy for being on our board with us, and Rob Zuckerman, who worked this tail off for us the whole time. I thank you, Rob. And Dana Bazicki for the Educational Foundation Association, thank you. And I want to thank all the people in the township that helped us out along the way. Our police department, Parks and Recreational was there for us all throughout this whole time and everything. Also, John Kostick, I don't know what his title is, but he was with us all along too, and he did an amazing job. So I also want to thank the community for coming out and supporting us throughout the time. They did a great job, and we appreciate that. And I also have to thank our auxiliary, Madam President of our auxiliary, and the auxiliary people for all the great work they did. They was with us side by side throughout the whole thing. So I thank you and appreciate it. God bless you. Thanks. God bless you. You want? Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mayor.
I'll reread the proclamation, LGBTQ Pride Month. If there's any representatives who would like to join me. I like that sharp move. Thank you for the laugh. But before I begin, Mr. Zuckerman, please, a couple of words from Trenton.
Thank you. It's different addressing this. Should be addressing the council. But actually, what I wanted to say was to the folks in the back of the room from the VFW. So we have a resolution from all of the state senators and assembly people that represent all of the districts that are in Middlesex County. And it's really the words similar to, I think, the resolution that was from the town council and from the mayor, recognizing, the honor it was to host the wall here in East Brunswick, in Middlesex County in New Jersey, and particularly, personally, on Memorial Day itself. And, that's true. But I think also, in addition to saying all of that, which hopefully you did, as the mayor said, had an opportunity to be there, I have multiple copies of this because I know Tommy thanked me, but, being there really just showed me what they all did, right? And they spent months and months and months tirelessly being able to put that together and have that run the way it did. And they had people there 24/7 for that entire length of time. So they really are the ones who deserve all of the recognition, and really, it's an honor for them to be housed in East Brunswick, and we always appreciate them. So these are all for you guys, and if you need more for everybody else that helped, let me know. All right.
Proclamation, June 2024, LGBTQ+ Pride Month. Whereas the Township of East Brunswick recognizes and proclaims the month of June 2024 as Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, Transgender, Queer, and Intersex Pride Month. And whereas East Brunswick cherishes the value and dignity of each person and appreciates the importance of equality and freedom. Whereas all are welcome in East Brunswick to live, work, play, and every family in any shape deserves a place to call home, where they are safe, happy, supported by friends and neighbors. And whereas it is imperative that people in our community, regardless of sexual orientation, gender identity, and expression, feel valued, safe, empowered, and supported by their peers. And now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Brad J. Cohen, the Mayor of East Brunswick, along with the Township Council, recognize 2024 as LGBTQ+ Pride Month, and urge residents to recognize the contributions made by members of the LGBTQ+ community and to actively promote the principles of equality, liberty, and justice. Given under my hand and the Great Seal of the Township of East Brunswick on this, the 10th day of June in the year 2024, the Honorable Mayor Brad J. Cohen. Before we move on to our next phase of the Town Council meeting, if anyone who has been recognized, we'll take a 2-minute recess so that you guys can scoot. I don't know that you want to stay for the guts of the meeting, but if you do, you are surely more than welcome. Anthony, you good? What do you say?
Live.
We're live? Okay. Ordinance 24-11, Township Clerk, please read.
An ordinance of the Township of East Brunswick, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 209, Vehicles and Traffic of the Township Code to include violations for parking obstructions and encumbrances in streets.
May I have a motion? Second. I'm going to open this up to the public on ordinance 24-11, on this ordinance only. Anyone from the public wishing to speak on this ordinance? I'll close the public portion. Roll call, please.
Councilman Bahal?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zambicki?
Yes.
And Council President McAvoy?
Yes. We'll move on to our reports section of the meeting. Mayor Cohen?
Thank you, Council President. A couple of things. And on the agenda this evening for the consent agenda is a second time to consider a shared service agreement with the public schools for their capital expenses, much like we do for our capital expenses. The ability for the schools to finance is a lot different than it is for the township. The township can go out to the public market, and because of our good bond rating, we can finance at significantly lower levels than the school could ever possibly do on its own. And because of that, we for years have had an arrangement with the schools that when they need capital expenses, that we will raise the money through the bond market to do that. In order for us to do that, we need to have each year a updated shared service agreement that spells out the terms of that agreement. We've been doing it by financing, or they've been financing their capital needs with 5-year bonds. And it rotates every single year so that after 5 years, as one pays off, they take on a new one. And it helps them keep their capital costs and interest payments lower than it would be if they went out on their own. So again, this year we have in front of you a shared service agreement that we have updated, changed a couple of things that would benefit the town, such as providing a mechanism to make sure that bus drivers could be utilized in the summer for our summer camps, that some of the buildings would be made available at just cost, and some other things that were needed for us to make sure that we saw some parity in the agreement. This is a past practice. This isn't anything different than what we've done for years now for the schools. It saves them significant amount of money. As an example, I gave each of you a copy of the last 8 years' worth of bonds. And it varies a little bit from year to year, but on average, it averages to about $5 million per year. If you were looking at what bonds are being paid off in terms of comparing it to the new one that they're taking on, the new one that they're taking on is 5.79, almost $5.8 million. If you look at the last year, or that one that's going to be just paid off this year, they'll be paying off a $14.6 million loan. If you're looking at the one that was paid off the year before that, it's 5.8. Essentially, they are not taking out any more debt this year than what they had in the past. If you look at the difference at best in what we're saving by financing it through our capital market versus what they would have to do, it at best would be a 2% difference. That 2% on an average payment for last year, which came out to about almost $10 million, would be about $200, or essentially a tax point. So essentially, what we're doing by helping out the schools, no matter one way or another, that interest would have to be paid. And so we're essentially, by doing this, helping taxpayers save somewhere around $200,000 a year in finance charges that would ordinarily have to be paid if the schools went out on their own. And then the final thing that benefits the township generally when we do these financing deals is that we finance and try to do that together, meaning that if the town has a capital need and the school has a capital need, when you combine the two, it actually puts us in a higher market for the capital markets, and we get even better rates, so that if the school is financing $5 million and the town's financing $1 million, to go out for $6 million gets us all a better rate. So the ability for us to do that together actually helps the town as well. So I just wanted to make sure that we're clear tonight on what's being asked. The school board and the township are two totally different governing bodies. In the state of New Jersey, they are statutorily different. We have no influence over the school board. The school board has no influence over the township. This is not New York City. The mayor and the council does not pick the superintendent. We don't pick the school board members. That's up to the public. So I want to make it pretty clear that it is not our role here at this end of the highway to dictate school policy or manage their budget. That is for them. If the public is unhappy in how they're doing that, they have a mechanism to correct that, and that's at the time of elections. So I just wanted to make it very clear what you're being asked to do this evening. Second thing, you'll see also in resolutions, there's again about $170,000 to $200,000 in grant money that we are accepting. That was on top of what we accepted last week, was last council meeting, upwards of $800,000 in grant money. It really underscores the fact that, as a rule, the Township Council and our departments have been really aggressive at trying to go after road grants and parks and rec grants and public safety grants. All of these things are used towards items that we would ordinarily have had to pay for anyway. All of those roads that you're seeing done, many of the big ones that are done through transportation trust grants like Fern Road, and this year is going to be New Brunswick Avenue, Dunham's Corner. Many of those roads are township roads. Those are our responsibility. If we were fixing them, they would come out of your property tax dollars. Every time we get a grant, that is money that you don't have to pay in property taxes, and it's a large part of the reason why we've been able to keep our tax increases on the municipal side to an average in the last 7 years of 0.5%, which I know doesn't mean much but in terms of what does that number mean? Well, it means that your average municipal tax increase is about little under $12 a month, $1 a month. I don't really know if it's possible for us to do better than that, but we will keep trying. And then I think finally what I'd like to close with in terms of talking about, just look at this past weekend and the things that were going on in Township. And I know that we can all concentrate on negative things that have been in the news lately, but over the weekend, we had a Coptic community had their biannual festival. There was Canera, which was a celebration of Asian AAPI and the community that we have here. There was the soccer clubs that were all out this weekend. There was a Polish festival that was out at the fairgrounds, and on and on and on with really celebrations of really good things in the township, and it highlighted the diversity and positivity here in the township. So I think that while we all may have negative things that we could concentrate on, I think the good far outweighs the bad, and we should learn from that and recognize how wonderful of a town we live in, and try to get along with one another and move the ball forward. I think that by and large, we have a lot of things that we can really say that we are truly blessed for here in the township. I think last weekend was just a prime example of that. So I turn it back to you, Council President.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Chris our Business Administrator.
Sure, just a quick announcement. We're far ahead on our road paving program. If you parked in the left-hand side parking lot, you can see we're working on some drainage out there. It will be paved next week, so the parking lot will be closed. That entire lot will be closed. It will be milled. It will be paved, pitched, so it goes into the drainage and striped. So that's next week that lot will be closed. Naturally, the other lots are open, and during the daytime, you can park on Civic Center Drive. From after that, school ends, and then we'll be hitting the other roads full force. That's all for this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Crisculo. Our attorney, Mr. Iacocca.
There's nothing to report at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Iacocca. Our Township Clerk, Ms. Lawfer.
There is nothing to report. Thank you.
Thank you. Town Council, any reports, committees? Councilwoman Zambicki?
Quick report. Crystal Springs opened on Memorial Day weekend. Season passes are up. If you still haven't purchased one, it's still a good value for the summer. It's a great, safe environment to take the children and even adults. First season of our East Brunswick Market was held 2 weekends ago, and it was a great success. The next one will be July 28th. There was lots of vendors. It was a great community event, bringing everybody together. Pride at the Pool is this Friday at Crystal Springs. Mr. Ray returns for all the children on June 24th at 6 p.m. at the Community Arts Center. Of course, our July 4th festival will take place at the Community Arts Center with fireworks and a bunch of great food and celebration. Let's see. Acoustic Mondays, a favorite of many people, right here at the Municipal Complex, returns on July 8th. And July 7th is National Hot Dog Day, and Parks and Recreation will be giving out free hot dogs right here at the Municipal Complex from 11 to 2. And a little community piece, the Park and Recs is collecting new bathing suits and goggles for children in need. If you would like to make a donation, you could do so at the Park and Recs Department on Dunham's Corner. That's it.
Thank you. I will now open the meeting to the public, and so will Township Clerk please read our public comment statement.
The public comment portion of our meeting is to allow the public to bring to the council's attention their concerns or comments. In accordance with NJSA 10:4-12A and the East Brunswick Rules of Council, the council asks the public to limit their comments to 5 minutes or less. At the conclusion of the statements or questions from a member of the public, the council president, at his discretion, may choose to respond or not respond.
Thank you. Because of the fact that we have a full house and we have a foyer as well full, I'm going to start off the public portion with the community cat program so that people can voice their concerns with regard to the cats, because I think we have a large contingent of, I don't think I like this term, cat people. I don't like, I don't like that. You may use that behind closed doors, but I think what we can do with regard to allowing, First Amendment rights to come up to the podium and share your ideas. And we'll take, let's just say 5, because there are some other issues that people are going to want to talk about this evening. We'll take about 5 people who have 5 minutes. If you break it down to 3 minutes, maybe we can squeeze in a 6th, and so on and so forth. So, is there anyone who wishes to address the council president? Please.
Hi there. I'm speaking on behalf of Lindsay Margosian.
And you are?
I'm Jessica Laurier.
And what's your address, Jessica?
Mine is 4 Lantern, and she's 37 Buckingham. Council President McAvoy, esteemed members of the Town Council, and Mayor Cohen. I've been a lifelong resident of East Brunswick. I grew up here. This is my home. I had a great childhood here, and I always felt proud to say that I was from East Brunswick. This town has always treated me wonderfully until now. As I am sure you are aware, East Brunswick TNR and Rescue sent an email to all of you who are before me on May 16th, kindly requesting a meeting with at least one of our council members to discuss a pervasive community cat issue within our town and the need for a TNR ordinance. Instead of receiving a response to set up such a meeting or even a polite decline, I was sent a rude, threatening letter by the township attorney filled with inaccuracies. Not only was this letter absurd and insulting, but a township who is so concerned with keeping our tax dollars from increasing spent, 300 in billable hours to our township attorney? Where is the logic in that? I founded East Brunswick TNR and Rescue in 2022 to address a problem that you all seem to be ignoring. Every day I field calls, emails, Facebook messages from your residents seeking assistance with cats. Here, let me play a message for you.
In East Brunswick, just a few minutes from us, and they have 4 kittens in the garage there. They look like they're about 4 weeks old, and Mom is still kind of coming to see them. But was wondering if maybe we can get them over to you guys and get Mom TNR'd or something. You can give me a call back and give us pointers or something.
This is just one of many calls that we receive weekly. There's nothing special about the message that I just played for you. It's actually very typical. You wouldn't know because we have insulated you all from the problem. To date, we have TNR'd 100+ cats and found rescue placement for upwards of 30 kittens. That's just in less than 2 years and with a very small team. I'm not here looking for recognition. I'm here today because you decided it would be better to dismiss a resident's request for a meeting versus entertaining discussions with us. As our elected officials, it's your responsibility and duty to listen to your constituents and take their concerns into consideration. Many residents who have assisted gladly replied all to our request to meet with you, stating their support for a TNR ordinance. For you to dismiss us all is extremely shameful and embarrassing. All I'm asking is for the town to get out of our way if they aren't going to assist in doing anything proactive. The way you can do this is by passing an ordinance that updates the codes so residents are not living in fear and thus will work with us in finding a solution. Doing nothing is not an option. Your residents are pleading with you to be that progressive East Brunswick that you claim to be, and they have been pleading for years. It is high time that you make the right choice to bring East Brunswick out of 1984 and into 2024 and pass a TNR ordinance now. Until we receive what we are asking for, we will continue to attend your town council meetings on a regular basis, as this is obviously the only forum where we have a voice where you are forced to listen to us. We've been asking for the last 4 years. After Mr. Hackett and I met with Mayor Cohen back in 2021 to discuss the issue, I, along with representatives from People for Animals, then met with the mayor, the business admin, as well as EBPD lieutenant and sergeant who oversee animal control in East Brunswick. Meeting after meeting, discussion after discussion, all to no avail. When is enough enough?
Excuse me, you're not recognized. You're not recognized. Just waiting for Lindsay to make her way. Okay, sir. Yes, you. I don't know names, and pointing, but I have to.
Good evening, I'm Alan Margosian, 37 Buckingham Drive, East Brunswick. Thank you, Mayor Cohen and members of the Town Council for the opportunity to speak to you and the residents of East Brunswick. We've lived in East Brunswick since 1986 and became aware of our town's cat problem about 20 years ago when we would see cats hang out and cross our property on a regular basis. We believe in TNR. We've seen how it reduces the feral cat population, especially around our home. We started using outside groups to TNR the cats in our neighborhood, and we haven't seen a litter of kittens in several years. The point here is that we haven't seen a litter of kittens in several years. That's because the cats we have seen have all been spayed or neutered. Our daughter Lindsay recognized early on that East Brunswick had no resources to help these cats. We didn't even own a cat until 5 years ago. The closest resource for TNR was Karma Cat Zen Dog in Milltown, and she joined their nonprofit and served as their TNR coordinator for approximately 2 years. Approximately one-third of Karma Cat's TNR requests were coming from East Brunswick. Karma serves most of Middlesex County, yet they were getting about a third of their requests from us. Lindsay saw that East Brunswick, like every other town, needed more to help, and she formed East Brunswick TNR and Rescue, a 501c3 nonprofit. East Brunswick TNR has been a conduit for helping lost, sick, and injured cats and regularly refers residents to animal control, which was outsourced to New Brunswick in 2023. We're an affluent community, but East Brunswick is no longer in control over their own animal control officers. Over the last 5 years, we've met with the mayor, attended town council meetings in an effort to get East Brunswick to look at its antiquated and contradictory ordinances. Our town needs ordinances and regulations that recognize and support TNR, as trap, neuter, vaccinate, and return, as a part of the solution to reduce the feral cat population. Early on, Lindsay was told, keep doing what you're doing. We don't want to change the ordinances because it takes away our leverage in dealing with problem cat people. Keep doing what you're doing. No one wants to see a resident, especially us, or a colony caregiver, get in over their head and evolve into a public nuisance or a health problem. Instead of our town embracing TNR and involving East Brunswick TNR and Rescue when they see a problem brewing, they continue to keep them in the dark and fail to recognize what they do for our residents on a daily basis. East Brunswick TNR and Rescue and their volunteers are a valuable resource to our residents 7 days a week. East Brunswick's town website, ordinances, and codes regarding our community cat population contain antiquated and unenforceable policies, misinformation, and contradictions. Our mayor and the current administration refused to consider updates and changes to our ordinances, and as was previously stated, their request for a meeting was met by the town attorney, Anthony Iacoca. He states no changes are warranted and the town will not entertain further discussion. That's what we're doing right now. We're discussing it. Mayor Cohen, members of the council, you failed to realize how uninformed your thinking is when it comes to TNR ordinances, current, modern TNR ordinances, and the community and the feral cats. East Brunswick TNR and the residents that support them have the resolve to continue pushing for this administration to act. They can't simply be told, keep on doing what you're doing. I want to leave you with this. An unspayed kitten can get pregnant as early as 4 months old and can have 3 litters of 4 to 6 kittens per year. the math can get very scary very fast. I'd like to thank all the people who came out tonight to support us and East Brunswick TNR and Rescue and the work that they do every day.
Would anyone else like to address the council president regarding the cat situation? This gentleman? This gentleman? It's cats. We're only doing cats. Yes. No, you've exhausted your time. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Oh, but I read on behalf of Lindsay because she's not verbal.
Okay.
So,
Your name and address, please?
my name is Janine Donito. I'm a resident of South Brunswick at 7103 Laurel Court. I grew up in East Brunswick, though, where my family lived in the township for 30 years, and I went to middle school and high school here. I live in South Brunswick. I have been a practitioner of TNR for at least 10 years in that township. We're more fortunate than it seems from what I'm hearing in East Brunswick because our township has not, they have not tried to limit the work that people are doing. They don't have a TNR ordinance, but their animal control works with the community, and they kind of, like I said, they take a hands-off approach, but they will not remove, for example, cats that are living in the wild that are not that are healthy and that are ear-tipped, which shows that they've been spayed and neutered and vaccinated. I urge the township to work with the groups that are here. I work with Lindsay. She sometimes sends me requests that people contact her about that live in South Brunswick. So it would be beneficial and make the township really look good to work with the residents on this issue, because we're going to be here still doing it, and it's not going to go away without help. I'm hearing that I know East Brunswick has a lot of resources because, like I said, I grew up here, and it would, like I said, it would make the township look compassionate and humane by working with us and trying to solve this problem, because I will be the first one to tell you that it's a problem. I go into different places and there's cats and kittens everywhere. The only thing that stops that process from continuing is TNR and getting them fixed. It's just simple biology. If they can't reproduce, the population is going to decrease over time. So thank you for allowing me to speak.
Just want to clarify that before I'm
Jessica,
speaking.
give us your address again?
Yes,
for the
4
record.
Lantern. Yes, the previous statement was from Lindsay, and that's going to say my statement now. I am the Vice President of EBTNR and Rescue. We are a 501c3 here in town. We've been doing trap, neuter, vaccinate, release for several years, providing a free service to residents who reach out for help. I've personally gone to many sites to assist residents. By the time the calls come to us, they're quite desperate. There's kittens, there's hoarding, we all know about that. The thing that's gotten really out of control now as a result of really not having the ordinance passed is that people are now moving underground with their feeding and their hoarding. So now things are getting more secretive because residents are fearful of, prosecution, and there's fear now. So what happens as a result is that people now bring these strays inside the house. And what happens there is that, you've got a bevy of disease. We've got kittens that are going blind, dying in the house. This problem's not going to go away. It's actually hitting a fever pitch now. I just want to let you guys know that, and we would really like you guys to consider and to work with us. We're already doing the work. We're not asking for any money. In fact, if you pass this ordinance, it really would open you up to grant money. So we're leaving money on the table. We want East Brunswick to be moving into the next century. We want us to evolve. We want to partner with you, and I really hope that you'll consider that. Thank you.
See a hand. You're going to have to raise your hand, young lady. this gentleman? And then I'll come back to you, okay? And then we'll,
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Brian Hackett. I'm the Director of Government and Community Relations at Associated Humane Societies, 124 Evergreen Ave in Newark. That's our business address. I'm a resident in North Hanover, New Jersey, in Burlington County. I appreciate the opportunity to speak tonight. It's unfortunate it had to come to filling a room with 50 or 60 people to try to prove the need for this. I've worked with hundreds of local and state officials around this whole state on this very issue, and fortunately has not been as difficult in those places as it has been here to get a progressive policy regarding community cats passed. I really venture to try to discern why it's been so difficult years in the making. Certainly, if we believe that your local ordinances and codes are in no need of changes or updates, and that certainly is the source of the problem, that flawed and mistaken belief. This policy is not asking for any money from the town. It would actually afford you tens of thousands of dollars potentially in grant funding. I can tell you, working with national animal protection groups that throw around hundreds of thousands of dollars in grant money, they would look at a town like East Brunswick and think it's, on this issue, a total joke, and they would never even look at granting at this town to address these public health concerns in East Brunswick. They would not grant to any town with the types of codes and lack of formative ordinances on the books that this town has. I mean, we don't have to venture to guess very far. Edison, Old Bridge, Sayreville, numerous towns just within the vicinity here are dealing with community cats in a 2024 way. In terms of best practices, would you want your physician or your surgeon operating on you, utilizing medical knowledge and practices from the 1970s? No. Would you want your airline pilots flying a plane under thinking and pre-regulations before all the plane crashes that happened that have perfected air travel? No. Then why are we allowing your residents to operate and live under animal care and control, animal services policies that are from the 80s? You know, the National Animal Care and Control Association, which is the standard bearer, they talk about best practices. I'm going to leave a copy of this respectfully with the council and the mayor, asking exactly for what we're asking for. This is the National Animal Care and Control Association, the national best practices on this. Your ordinances don't allow for a nuisance abatement process, which doesn't only affect the cats, but it affects the residents who have complaints regarding cats. You don't have any feeding guidelines that are specific that outline practices for feeding and then give opportunities to correct that if people aren't feeding properly. And you don't have anything encouraging these policies. So you have a group like Lindsay that is spending time and money of their own volition, and the town has a boot on their neck, just simply trying to help the town do great work. So we're not asking for any money. We're just simply asking that East Brunswick upgrade your policies to reflect 21st century best practices and what many other towns in both Middlesex County have done and throughout the state. Cape May County does this on a county level. Middlesex County commissioners endorsed this policy several years ago. I mean, we could go on and on and on. I hope we don't have to keep filling council chamber rooms to prove the facts and prove the efficacy of this. You were provided a template ordinance which encompasses all of these best practices that would appropriately update your codes, and we really respectfully urge you to pass that. I'm having conversations as we speak with the city of Newark and other municipalities. There's a state legislative initiative to address this. I mean, everyone's kind of getting on board, and, you know, East Brunswick is one of the few that's not in our work on this, and it's just really unfortunate, and I really respectfully urge everyone to change the policy. The hoarding cases you have in town are being made worse by your existing policies. If you had this, things would improve over time. There's many people here who could speak to that tonight from examples all over the state, but I'll conclude now, so thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Michelle Campion. Thank you for
And you're
making
Michelle,
time
did you
for
say?
all of us. Yes.
Right, and a little bit louder, and your address,
I am
Michelle?
The founder and president of Starfish Kittens Rescue,
And your address.
270 Union Avenue, Rutherford, 07070. That's correct. I'm present tonight to offer continued support to our fellow rescue East Brunswick TNR, whose name states its reason for existence, and thankfully so because they are doing life-saving work. Their organization, as well as mine and the others who have emailed all of your counsel, including your attorney, are aiming to assist your jurisdiction in coming up to code. We are hoping that you're going to adopt a more humane approach to managing the cats in your community. I have witnessed personally on multiple occasions disastrous outcomes for cats that are the result of outdated practices in your township, specifically the lack of a successful TNR ordinance. I am the person who responds 24/7. With due respect, the current code is outdated. The organizations, including the rescue that I operate, are and have been for years stepping up to assume the burden of public need directly from your jurisdiction. We are volunteers who are willing to share the burden for the sake of the animals, but it is time to update your practices to satisfy the humane standard that is in line with the current practices of your fellow municipalities. It is all of our hope that you will please consider the TNR ordinance that was proposed on May 16th to all of you, which was followed up by statements from all of us. It represents a humane and necessary update to your operations and service to your constituents and to your community cats. Thank you.
Sir, with the hand up. And then we're going to go one more after this gentleman.
Thank you for, my name is Alan Braslow. I live at 1246 Liberty Bell Drive, Cherry Hill, New Jersey.
Cherry Hill.
Yep. I wanted to thank you for allowing me a few minutes of your time. I drove up from Cherry Hill because of the importance of this matter. As a Camden County Democratic Committee member and as an animal advocate for over 30 years with experience in the county animal response team, as well as other volunteer organizations where we get involved with the results of what bad ordinances do, I kind of felt obligated to support your local citizens who are endorsing a TNR program rather than do-nothing approach and hope the problem goes away. I've seen the results of what happens with that and had to deal with it. Even if you don't care about animals, supporting this request for a humane cat ordinance is not just good policy, it's smart politics. Thousands of communities across the U.S. and around the world have embraced TNR at the grassroots level or as official government policy. In rural and urban settings, cold and warm climates, everywhere in between, TNR works for cats and communities. I know that I'm from Camden County, which is one of the many New Jersey counties whose county commissioners have recognized that this approach is successful and viable public policy. I understand, and Brian said it, Middlesex County Commissioners have also endorsed it, so I wonder why East Brunswick is not catching up and passing this simple ordinance. I grew up in North Jersey, and I always looked at East Brunswick as one of the leaders. This ordinance is great. It'll allow you to actually regulate the people who feed the cats, provide the cats are sterilized and properly vaccinated, prevents more animals from being born, and protects public health. Someone mentioned about the cats getting pregnant. They can go into heat every 2 weeks after they've had a litter. My wife is dealing with some that we're rescuing right now and taking care of. It also allows this ordinance also allows a nuisance complaint abatement process. You currently don't have any of this to help and protect your residents, and it's a problem. In South Jersey, we've even had local businesses step up and be active, and they've supported TNR, and they've set up community facilities for feral cats on their properties, behind their buildings. Their employees enjoy feeding them because they know they're not going to reproduce. And by the way, the life expectancy is about half of what a normal cat in your house would be. It's about 7 years that they live. But they're not producing, so the population goes down. And it's managed in a humane way. But your approach now is to merely designate a good Samaritan who cares for cats they do not own as a harborer and therefore an owner, which is inefficient and wholly ineffective. It drives people to deal with cats in the shadows rather than in the sunlight where they should be. Simply stated, you need to update your local code to reflect what thousands of other communities have already done. Doing nothing and hoping the problem goes away is not a solution. The other alternative, which is just as bad as your current approach, which is do nothing, would return us to the Stone Age of animal welfare, that of the open trap and pound and kill approach. Not only has this proven to be wholly ineffective, both in historical and contemporary examples of its employment, but it's also cost financially unsustainable, socially irresponsible, and extremely questionable from an ethical viewpoint. The best thing to do is meet with your residents, give your residents what they want, pass an ordinance like many of the municipalities in New Jersey have that is current, effective, it works, it doesn't cost anything. I have to deal with our Camden County Commission all the time. It costs nothing to do this the right way. Don't just ignore your residents, please. And thank you so much.
And finally,
thank you for your time. I'll keep this short.
it's okay.
My name is Kimberly Sked. My last name is spelled S-K-E-D. I live at 21 3rd Avenue, Roebling, New Jersey, which is Burlington County. And I'm here tonight as a representative of the Friends of the Burlington County Animal Shelter. We're a shelter-affiliated 501c3. We have both programs within our county shelter, and we also have programs to support the county on the outside. So in that role, I'm the cat foster coordinator for animals in the building, and I'm the TNR coordinator for animals outside. And what we see is all-time highs on surrenders. And really, it would be nice to keep the shelter for our own residents that need a safe haven for their animals to go to, where they don't say, that animal's just going to get killed there because there's no space. And what we see is that TNR is working. Last year, Fobcast spent over $90,000 TNR-ing cats. We spent another $77,000 on providing health care for injured and sick community cats. Now, we're working at a county-wide level. If we had a small town or municipalities more on board, it would be so much easier. We have 40 towns that we're dealing with in our county, and each town that we can get on board, it helps. We see the numbers going down. In 2019, 540 animals, cats, were killed in the Burlington County Animal Shelter for behavior. Last year, 247 were killed for behavior. So we've brought that number in half. We're getting our shelter to an 80% live release rate, which is not no kill on the cat side. But we're striving, and TNR is a meaningful way to get there. It's a piece of the puzzle that we have to have. And we have the community support. We have the donations to support us. So if you've got a town group that's already here supporting it and doing the boots on the ground, they are really worth their weight in gold. So that's all I'm going to say, unless you have any questions for us. But thank you for your time.
You're done. Folks, so we've heard what you've said. We've listened. I'll meet with the mayor, business administrator, and attorney because this is my meeting. And after a conversation with them, Jessica, I see you as the quasi-leader, and you're in town versus a host of people that I heard from all over the state of New Jersey. This is an East Brunswick issue, okay? East Brunswick. And therefore, I will get back to you. At this time, I'll call a recess of 2 minutes so that the chamber can be emptied so that our people who are in the foyer can come in. Thank you. And we're live. Mr. Winston. Name, address?
Yes, good evening. I'm Jeff Winston, 44 Fresh Ponds Road, East Brunswick. I would like to thank the mayor for his comments at the last council meeting, acknowledging the issues that have plagued the school district and the Board of Education in East Brunswick. While this comment was likely related to budget issues then, recent events have transcended anything anyone could ever imagined. I do not need to rehash the events of the yearbook debacle as it pertains to the incident. Instead, I would like addressing the handling of the event by the Board of Education, and now it extends beyond the district and falls squarely on the feet of this chamber and its members. I will explain. Last Thursday, the Board of Education held a meeting at the East Brunswick High School auditorium, and at that time, Superintendent Valesky stated that outside special counsel will be retained to determine the actions that led to the egregious event. He stated that he had nothing conclusive at that point. President Lax, at the end of the meeting, stated, quote, "I may be in trouble in saying this, but this was not anti-Semitic," end quote. The comment was confusing simply by virtue that the superintendent failed to offer anything remotely close to a sort of a conclusion. In fact, Victor Valesky confirmed the investigation was ongoing. Today it was reported that the district did in fact hire special counsel. The individual hired is a former partner of the school district attorney, Matt Giacobbe's law firm, and filled in for the district attorney as legal counsel at board meetings in 2017, hardly independent and likely conflicted. In the public meeting last Thursday, what we witnessed was many students, Muslim and Jewish and others, come to the mic and express concerns about safety, incidents of bias, harassment reports, threats, and other descriptions of despicable things, many of which were not or were poorly addressed by the Board of Education. Mayor Cohen, you have stated several times that hate has no place in East Brunswick, and I certainly agree. But the fact is, hate has taken up residence in East Brunswick. As a result, safety and well-being is being called into question. Back to the schools. Our Thursday superintendent was not prepared to draw a conclusion that he could share with the public regarding the yearbook issue, and the investigation was ongoing. The following day, Friday, an article was published in People magazine online. In this article, Valesky stated that the incident was not, in fact, bias, but an error, a mistake. He was unwilling to tell the residents of East Brunswick, especially the students, less than 12 hours prior to the publication, that what any results of the investigation yielded, which resulted in concerns for safety to grow exponentially. Had he shared his findings at that meeting, it would likely have slowed the effect of the wildfire brewing among the student population. So why now the township? You are governing the East Brunswick Police Department, whose primary purpose is to protect and serve, protect against threats that could bring harm to our residents. Because Valesky refuses to quell the fears of the most vulnerable, the students, he essentially increased the threats, thus putting our students in harm's way. The equivalent is a precursor to inciting violence, and because of that, this is now a township problem. Besides being public students, these kids are also township residents, and still up to you to protect and serve, in spite of the disruptor and perpetrator being Victor Valesky. A leader's job is to bring calm and not increase chaos. Where Valesky has failed, you can excel. I respectfully request the following. The township should maintain a high level of police presence at the high school and at a minimum until school is dismissed in the summer. An increase of any planned presence at graduation events or any other ceremonies where large groups of students gather. And lastly, it is time for this town council to make a formal motion with a second and to vote no confidence in the Board of Education and the Superintendent of Schools, Valesky. To summarize, the Superintendent of Schools has prioritized national and international publicity and ego-stroking spotlight over the safety and well-being of students in our schools and the community at large, and this is noticeable and unacceptable. This is not the first time he's done it, and it won't be the last. Please let the district know that the township and this chamber has worked so hard to build a thriving community that is now on fire. As elected officials who were put in the seat, please do your part. Where other elected officials at the Board of Education have failed miserably, please make a motion tonight and submit a majority vote of no confidence of the Board of Education and Superintendent Victor Valesky, and I thank you for your time.
Gentleman here with the Mets uniform. Easy to identify.
Not the Mohawk?
No.
All right, so good evening and happy Pride Month. My name is Dominic Sclafani, that's spelled Sclafani. I live at 2 Morgan Place. I'm here to talk about a beloved educator, Dr. Louis Figueroa. Not only is he, or rather was, a beloved administrator of over 10 years for the schools, but he's also a beloved resident in town. So I come here to honor the great man Dr. Figueroa is, and it's not just me who thinks this, but rather over the 1,140 people from the petition I started in hopes of keeping him. They have also agreed that he's a great man. And while I'm disheartened that the Board of Ed decided to go against the will of the people, I'm really happy to know the majority of the township residents know the truly great man Dr. Figueroa is. And I know you have zero control of the Board of Education, but I still think this is a very important topic to bring to light. Thank you.
Please. Yes, the black with the dark glasses on, yes.
Hi. Nawal Tufel, Tall Oaks Drive, East Brunswick.
Please.
As a first-generation Muslim American immigrant who moved to East Brunswick a couple of years ago, I'm deeply concerned about the recent events in our town. My husband and I are raising our 3 very young children in this town, and what's happening demands immediate attention from our town's administration. The incident involving East Brunswick High School yearbook last week and the aftermath has been profoundly distressing and alarming. When reports of the incident surfaced on various local Facebook pages, they were flooded with hateful comments directed towards the Muslim community, including our children. It's difficult for me to believe that our mayor was not aware of the wave of hate and Islamophobia online. And by the way, I have all those comments here, although they have now been deleted. However, when the mayor issued his first official statement, it was incredibly disappointing that he did not consider the potential impact on the Muslim students in that picture. He seems to ignore the challenge of his Muslim constituents and focused solely on Jewish students. As a Muslim mother, reading that statement makes me feel as though our town is being governed by someone whose personal bias overshadowed their ability to make fair and professional judgment and decisions. Furthermore, the mayor's immediate classification of that incident as anti-Semitic only further fueled hateful rhetoric online, with trolls calling the kids in the picture terrorists, comparing Muslim children to KKK, and spewing other derogatory remarks. Although these comments have since been deleted, the damage has been done, leaving the Muslim community feeling marginalized and exposed. And again, once again, I have all the proof in my hand. Now, allow me to underscore the gravity of spreading hate online. It can have deadly consequences for Muslims. I want to remind everyone the aftermath of October 7th, when repeated falsehoods from the mainstream media led to the brutal murder of 6-year-old Palestinian child, Wadi Al-Fumuni, in Chicago, stabbed 26 times by his own landlord. Are we willing to wait for such horrors to repeat themselves? As a Muslim woman and a mother, I'm actually fearful for my own children in my own home now. I keep my doors locked all the time. I'm not letting my kids go outside because I'm clearly a Muslim woman. And I do have sleepless nights now as I agonize over how to safeguard my children in a town with hate that's clearly now obvious online. So now back to Mayor's post. A good number of Islamophobic and hateful comments were posted on his Facebook post as well. So Mr. Mayor did not do anything about it. He did not take them down. He did any action for several days. He did not even close his post for comments, and he just let those hateful comments come online. And by the time he decided to bring his post down, it was already late. I mean, not the post down, it's still online, but the comments. His subsequent statement that he issued, while somewhat improved, still fell short of acknowledging his initial misstep, and in offering a sincere apology to the Muslim community, he has failed to take responsibility for his actions. I must also address the disparity in reaction between this incident and the ongoing conflict in the Middle East, which, by the way, is called genocide as per most of the reputable humanitarian organizations. While there's an outpouring of support for an incident in the yearbook, the same level of empathy is not extended to the thousands of Palestinian children who have suffered in this conflict. This discrepancy is deeply troubling and speaks to a larger issue of selective empathy. Children are children and should be seen as such, not as Jewish children or not as Muslim kids. We should be ashamed of ourselves if our heart only feels pain seeing the suffering of children of our own faith. And last, in conclusion, I really demand Mr. Mayor Cohen to take responsibility for his action, apologize to the Muslim constituents for the harm caused.
That is 5 minutes, but please finish.
And consider stepping aside if his bias prevent him from fairly addressing issues affecting our whole community. Thank you.
Right here? Right here. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Rose. I'm at 31 Gloucester Court in East Brunswick.
And your first name again?
Rose.
31 Gloucester?
Yes. I just want to recognize the council and the rest of East Brunswick and East Brunswick residents. First of all, I do want to thank, I know they're not here now, but the VFW and the auxiliary. My husband is a Gulf War veteran, and we are always so honored when our veterans are served and thanked for their service. I also had the unfortunate pleasure of seeing my cousin's name there and was able to call my aunt to give her solace that I saw him, and it was a wonderful gesture, so thank you to them. I'm here today because of the yearbook incident, but I want you to be aware of something else. While we're here talking about religion and race, and Councilman President, I know that you had a proclamation for LGBTQ+. There is another incident in the yearbook that has not been addressed. My child recognizes as trans, and it's very difficult for me to protect my child from all the hate that is going on. But I certainly didn't expect that I would have to deal with this issue here in East Brunswick. In addition to the issue regarding the club and the photos with the Jewish students, the Muslim students, my daughter's ad for celebrating her achievements while educated here at East Brunswick High School was omitted. I paid on a timely basis. I created this ad of wonderful pictures of her growing up in Warnsdorfer, being part of the marching band, which Dr. Cohen, we met and discussed while you were at the deli one day, only to be told that, sorry. And so we don't have an opportunity to celebrate her achievements, and she does recognize as he. When I called the school last week, they asked me to send them confirmation of the email in which I had paid for the ad and the ad itself. And I did. I had all the verification. I had the verification of emails, that making sure that I was at the right website, that I submitted all the information correctly, and I did not hear from anybody at East Brunswick High School. And I waited. And my daughter wanted to know what's going on. I called today and was asked to provide verification of my credit card receipt that they received payment for the ad, which I thought was really ridiculous because I gave them confirmation of the email that I received. And I was told that maybe I would get a reimbursement, a refund of the $225, but they weren't sure from who. Right now, the refund is not relevant. What's relevant is that in our township, hate has no place. Hate has no place whether you're black or white, Jewish or Muslim, but it also has no place if you're a part of LGBTQ+. And so one of the horrors that a parent has to deal with is that their child is going to be forever hounded and hated for choosing who they want to be as well as who they are. And so I asked the committee to consider other avenues in which we can celebrate our togetherness, our humanity, versus our differences. And I know we do a good job of our culture and these proclamations, but we really need to do more. And so I want to thank you for letting me speak tonight.
You're welcome. In the back row.
Good evening, Council. My name is Trish Quinn. I live at 528 Waterford Drive in Edison. I don't live in East Brunswick, but I am supporting your residents. You have heard about the benefits of TNR, including the empirical and factual evidence, stating that it is the only humane solution for animals that have been failed by humans. The cats didn't ask to survive outside, especially not without the care that humans have always provided to them. The sad reality is that countless numbers do not survive because house cats, used to having their meals put down at 7 p.m. and 6 p.m., 7 a.m. and 6 p.m., were tossed outside because their people were moving, had a baby, or just didn't want them anymore. These domestic animals have no skills to fend for themselves. The lucky ones are able to get past their fear after being tossed outside and find a different human to feed them and maybe bring them to live in another home. Or they find an existing community where they can grab some scraps of food, but only after the established cats have eaten and left the area. Otherwise, they are beat up, leaving them not only starving, but injured. The struggle to survive, even with a better skill set that allowed them to adapt. They can hunt, but more often than not, they seek out the scraps of kindness from the very humans they fear. They have to constantly run a gauntlet of cruel humans and cars. So many are killed trying desperately to cross a street. Shelters are not an option for these cats since they are fearful of humans. They live short, difficult lives. I have a story about one out-of-control community that Sammy's Hope TNR'd. We were aware there were at least a dozen cats who had been reproducing unchecked. We ultimately learned that the homeowner had allowed this to go on for years and at times had upwards of 30 cats on the property. When the complaints from neighbors got too loud, he would trap a bunch of cats, take them under cover of darkness to an unknown wooded area, and let them go. These young cats had never known anything but his property, where they had some shelter from the elements and were fed, at least sometimes. Their fates haunt me now and likely will until the end of my life. They had no chance to survive in the strange place he dumped them. When we finally got the homeowner to allow us on the property, the heartbreak continued. As we attempted some cleanup, we discovered there were 15 cats we could identify. 3 females had young kittens or newborns, and others were pregnant. More devastating were the dozen kitten carcasses we found. This is all on the property of a man who loved the cats. Before trapping day, we removed 14 live kittens from the property, ranging from 3 to 7 weeks old. They all went to foster homes, were completely vetted, and adopted to loving homes. 14 kittens who otherwise would have grown up on the property, only to eventually be transported to an unknown wood and left to die. Thanks to this effort, that did not happen. When everything was finally in place for trapping day, which included very difficult conversations to convince fed-up neighbors that this was the solution to the problem that had been plaguing them for years, we assembled with traps, tuna, mackerel, and a plan. In one day, one night, we trapped 19 cats, several of which we were completely unaware of. 5 more would not go into traps, and the 3 moms with newborns could not be spayed at that time. We did eventually get the moms and kittens. People for Animals came the next day with a van and brought 19 cats to be spayed and neutered, vaccinated, and medically treated if necessary. Of the 19, only 6 were female, but all were pregnant. This was far from the end of the story, but what I want you to remember is this. The 13 male cats stopped fighting in competition for the females. They stopped spraying and marking their territories, which included the properties of all the neighbors. The 6 females no longer had to be subject to stalking and sexual attack from the males. They did not have those kittens, and they did not have to struggle to feed them while desperately trying to keep themselves alive. If you haven't done the math during my time, I'll do it for you. From one TNR effort on one property in one day, 24 adult cats' lives were changed for the better. The population did not grow, and it naturally reduced over time. A total of 20 live kittens were pulled to live their lives as house cats. Calculating an average of 4 kittens per litter and 2 litters per year, 48 kittens were never born in that one summer from the 6 females who were on this one property. Additionally, the neighbors were no longer subjected to the horrible scent of unneutered male cats. They didn't have to listen to the screams of fighting and mating cats at all hours of the night. They didn't have to watch the never-ending suffering of kittens dying on their front lawns. Situations like this happen over and over and over again in every neighborhood. Doesn't matter how many laws you pass, you will never stop kind-hearted people from feeding stray cats. What you can do is give them a resource to extend their kindness to TNR so that the cat they will not turn away from will not reproduce and continue the suffering to generations. Catch and kill has been tried for more than 100 years, but the cats are still here because of us. We need to stop the arbitrary killing of innocent cats and take responsibility for what we caused. We can dramatically reduce the suffering and number of outside cats through TNR. It is the only humane solution. Thank you.
Gentleman in the silver suit.
Good evening, Mr. President, Mr. Mayor, esteemed council. My name is Alex Trackman, 47 Dorchester Drive, East Brunswick. This is my 3rd visit to this council, and I would like to bring your attention to the condition of the tennis courts at the Lenape Park. On my first
Lenape
visit,
Park?
Lenape Park. First time I was informed that everything is fine and everything is operational. However, all the surface was bubbled up. On my last visit, I believe it was a month and a half ago, I was informed by a few members of the council that water table coming through the surface, and that's why those courts will be unrepairable, and you have no time frame when it's going to be repaired. Well, I did my own survey. There is no water table under that surface. As a matter of fact, there is another basketball court which is next to the tennis courts, which is 4 feet below tennis courts. There is no water going through. So probably what happened, the surface was replaced 7 years ago with something that was supposed to be only indoors. I was informed that Township thinks that there is enough tennis courts in East Brunswick, and those courts will not be repaired in the near future. I have a petition signed by over 200 families in East Brunswick who want those courts to be repaired. I would like to ask council to reconsider and repair those courts as soon as possible. There is no water coming through. It was just bad repair. Let's admit it. Let's fix it. Let us enjoy our tennis courts and pickleball courts and outdoor. Thank you. Can I bring this in?
You want it back? We'll photocopy it we'll photocopy it and return it. Before you begin,
Sure.
again, this is all because of time. Is there any more Lenape Park people that do want to speak? Okay, then we'll continue.
I guess I'll talk about that first.
Okay.
My
You
name
are-
is Heba Migahed. I live in 27 Christian Drive, so the neighborhood where Lenape Park is located.
I just didn't get your name.
Heba, H-E-B-A.
Right.
Migahed, M-E-G-A-H-E-D. It's been, I think, a year and a half since the floor surface was damaged. People are still playing in that tennis court, and it's a tripping hazard. It's a safety hazard, and so I suggest you guys fix it soon because you don't want like a lawsuit with some sort of safety incident on your laps anytime soon. So I would appreciate if you guys can fix it. So
It's been locked. I don't know if they broke the lock.
people are able to get in, yeah. Yeah. They broke the lock, they got in, but either way, it's been a year and a half. It's been quite a bit of time.
I just don't want to have a
I agree, I understand,
Okay,
thank you.
and there's a lot of notes here.
Yeah.
And already, Lenape Park's got to be looked at.
Yeah,
But
okay.
I'm sorry, to interrupt.
No worries. So regarding the second issue, the tone of my talk today is a lot less inflammatory than my talk at the Board of Ed meeting last Thursday. Don't worry, I won't be shaming any of you, since I have since taken down the heat, according to your note, Mayor Cohen. But I would like to reflect back on the way the high school yearbook incident was handled. The way it was handled made the Muslim community feel completely isolated. The way it was handled created a bold divide between two groups of people in a time where there is global heightened sensitivity. We feel like an afterthought. And let's be honest, who wants to feel like an afterthought? It was only after Muslim parents reacted to the initial messaging labeling the mishap as anti-Semitic before even an investigation was concluded, subjecting Muslim students to a lot of hate. It was only after we reacted that we got some level of acknowledgement. The fact of the matter is, Muslims are growing substantially in East Brunswick. And, the more we feel dismissed, the more we're going to show up and speak up. Listen, we're not asking for much. We're asking to work in partnership. We're asking to not be dismissed. We're asking to be consulted with on a proactive basis and to be involved in the decision-making process. The Muslim community would like to help East Brunswick administration truly embody the words that you guys preach: diversity, equity, inclusion, and making sure that all people feel a sense of belonging. And we could do that together, speaking together proactively before mass communications and messages are sent out. Thank you.
Yes, as I point, my best point look.
Good evening, Mayor Cohen and Town Council members.
And
I'd
your
like
name
to-
and, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm
name
sorry.
and
Mary Ann Teutsch, 5 Dale Road, East Brunswick resident. I've lived in this town more than 30 years, and I'd like to ask the council and the mayor, what kind of town do you want East Brunswick to be? A type of town who cares for its residents, both two-legged and four-legged, or a town centered on building and building? A town that really wants to help residents, or just concentrate on more and more housing? Like many towns, we have a serious feral cat issue. There are cats, these cats are baby-making machines. The TNR ordinance is something we desperately need now. We need to stop the growth of feral cats. I can go into specifics about a hoarding situation that I'm very close to, but I think the whole issue is not one specific location. There are many hoarding situations with well-meaning people feeding the cats, but they don't have the funds to fix the cats, or they don't realize how quickly the situation can get out of control. So they start with a few cats, and soon it becomes a colony. This is a serious problem, and I'm urging the council and mayor to please pass the TNR ordinance ASAP. Thank you very much for your time.
I see a hand over here, and then I'll come back over here, okay?
Hello, my name is Breen Rupp. I'm a resident at 9 Kentisbury Circle, East Brunswick.
What circle?
9 Kentisbury.
Got it.
And since there aren't enough people from East Brunswick advocating for TNR, I will put my vote there too. But that's not what I came to speak about. As cute as I think kittens are, I do feel that they have a great point. We really need to do something for, as a township, for the animals. But what I came here to speak about tonight is my disappointment in our township. I happen to be Muslim as well. I'm a mother of 3 children who are in the East Brunswick district. I want to say that all the messaging that came out, of course, it's being investigated. Of course, we are speaking about it. Of course, it was horrible to begin with, but I want to make sure that you all realize that the youngest child in those pictures who's receiving threats is 13 years old. His picture is out there for all eternity. They are so many softwares out. Now, you can pick up your phone today and take a picture of anything, and Google will tell you what the closest match is. There is no way to hide an identity, and I feel as a township, we really, really dropped the ball here. Whether every single child in that picture was complicit, we didn't do a single thing to protect anyone and just threw them under the bus. And I tried to make a post online to just urge people to stop. And what I came back with was comments saying, well, this is all happening on Instagram. It's not township people. And then I came back and posted picture after picture after picture of vile crap being said about these children. Now, yes, I understand all these children are not on Progressive Parents East Brunswick or all these other groups, but they are on Instagram. And the youngest child, who's 13 years old, read comments about himself and about his friends for simply going and representing East Brunswick Township at different townships that MSAs were competing, and they were proudly representing our town. I feel that, yes, an investigation was in place, but every single comment that was out there from our township, from the board, could have just simply stated that none of those children were on the board for the yearbook. A simple statement, even if the investigation is going, not a single step was taken to protect those children. And that is on all of us. That is really on all of us. All those people in that picture at the time that the picture was taken were minors. And even if they were, which I don't know, we are still waiting for the investigation to be completed. And I will not, of course, there should be dire consequences. This is not a laughing matter. But the least we could have done was protect their identities. So I really feel that those children deserve an apology from our township. It's not enough to say, well, we made mistakes, and this weekend was great with football, and this weekend was great with a Polish festival and whatnot. It doesn't erase the failure on all levels, from parents, from people, from residents, from the school board, to this mayor's office. Apologize to those children. Thank you so much.
Can I get a show of hands of how many still want to speak? Get an idea of how long we're going to be here? Okay. Please.
Good evening. My name is Shari Wexler. I'm a resident. I live a few minutes away in neighboring Old Bridge. I work in Edison. Currently, I'm a longtime TNR advocate. I currently maintain a colony that's all TNR'd. It's down to 5 cats now near my job in Edison, so I've been doing that probably for about 15 years. I'm currently fostering 2 kittens who were community cats for a local rescue out of Old Bridge. And I know it may not seem like it for you guys right now, because I don't know what time it is, and you're probably stuck here way later than you expected to be. You guys don't know how lucky you are. If Lindsay and East Brunswick TNR can pack a room this size full of people, think what they're doing out in the community. And it's basically free labor. There's volunteers. You are so fortunate in this area to have so many amazing rescue groups. Karma Cat, New Beginnings, Happy Homes out of Old Bridge, North Brunswick Humane Association. All of these groups are coming in and doing the work that you would normally be paying your animal control to do. So it would actually be fiscally irresponsible for you not to support them with the TNR ordinance that they're asking for. And, I think you're probably happy that I'm not an East Brunswick resident, because I'd be over here requesting town funding and, support and all kinds of stuff. They're just asking you to support them and protect them from the work that they're doing anyway, which is saving animals. They're adopting out these animals to your residents. Your residents now have what they consider family members. They're going and adopting these cats that they've taken off the street. That's invaluable. I adopted my dog that I just lost a year ago, that I had for 12 years, from Mississippi. I talk to his shelter volunteer weekly, if not almost daily, because I'm so grateful that she brought him to me. And that's how your residents feel when they're adopting these cats. All they're asking is for your support. They're saying you can get grant money, so they're not even asking for town funding. You guys would be crazy not to take advantage of this. It's a room full of people, free labor, volunteers that are just waiting to help. They're doing the work anyway, and they're just asking for your support. Thank you so much.
Atika Gunja, Ateka Gunja, 68 Berkshire Way, East Brunswick. Berkshire Way. Yeah, so actually in my country woods development, there's a huge feral cat issue. So I know TNR has tried to work on that. So I hope that the council will support them fully in their efforts. So thank you so much for all the volunteers here for that. You know, two issues that I want to talk about, and I think the first one has already been touched on ad nauseum, I would say, which is this yearbook issue. You know, I got a really upsetting email from the president of the MSA, the student president, right when it happened, and that they were so upset about all the horrible comments, and he, you know, sent screenshots of all the horrible comments under Brad Cohen's, you know, messaging. There were comments like, beyond ridiculous, superintendent offered Muslim students an apology. They weren't the ones being replaced. Superintendent must be fired. Now he's pandering to the pain of the perpetrators. Valesky was quoted as saying it was an error was committed. Sounds like he's already copying out. Anyway, so it goes on. But I think it was really irresponsible, obviously, to call it an act of anti-Semitism before it was investigated, and it did have a lot of repercussions for our community. So we've been coming to Board of Ed meetings lately since this whole October 7th started, as well as meetings here trying to discuss the issue of Islamophobia, rising anti-Semitism, as well as Islamophobia that we're seeing. I think the Council of Arab Islamic Relations, or American Islamic Relations CARE, they've said that it's gone up by over 300% in the United States, Islamophobic events. So this is something that we need to take really seriously because we do have a rising population of Muslims. As you know, we just opened the masjid here in East Brunswick, the Islamic Center. So, you know, the community is now really starting to come together and get stronger. So we really want to make sure that this is a safe and place for our children to grow up in. The second issue I want to bring up is the ceasefire resolution that I really want. We're going to keep coming to here until that's, you know, introduced for a vote. Piscataway just passed a ceasefire resolution last week. So that's one of our communities in Central Jersey that's passed it. So I really want you all to look at this very, very seriously. We are reeling right now from what happened over the weekend. As you probably know, 4 hostages were released, which was great, at the expense of almost 300 people killed, many of them children. And our American military actually did a Trojan horse move where they went into an aid truck through the port that was built by American government to provide humanitarian aid to the people of Gaza. They actually are now using it for their military means. So they actually had the military people hiding in an aid truck. And then when it went into the Nusayrat refugee camp, the people, because it's aid that they desperately need because they're starving, they ran to the truck. And then when the military came out, they started just shooting like crazy. So, you know, these are massacres after massacres that we're reeling from. And a ceasefire resolution is absolutely necessary from our American government to push that to the Israelis to do that. But we can start right here in East Brunswick. And that will be something that shows that East Brunswick truly does care about peace, about harmony, and about all of its residents' well-being. That is actually, ceasefire is the way to get the hostages back safely. I believe there's like 120 hostages left. That is the way to get them out safely because they are being killed right now along with Palestinians, by the indiscriminate bombing that's being done by the Israeli government. So I'm just ashamed that I think it was said before that we should move out of the 1980s here, and I agree with that, because I grew up here, and I think we are really stuck in that time frame. We are not a progressive community, I can just tell you that. So I want to move East Brunswick forward. I want the mayor to move us forward. That needs to happen. And we are going to keep continuing to come here to talk to you guys to get a ceasefire resolution in East Brunswick. So thank you so much for listening.
Please. Young lady behind you.
Hi, my name is Anastasia Miranyuk.
I'm sorry, you are?
Anastasia.
Miranyuk.
3 Gladys Court, East Brunswick.
In what town?
East Brunswick. I just want to share how I felt a victim, actually, of the colony of cats. My neighborhood had like 9 cats living, and we had to struggle with a lot of issues that we were bringing as living outside. They were marking the fences. The fights at night were insane, like you would wake up. My son, he always wanted to try to pet them. I was always afraid that he gonna get a rabies from, feral cats, even though I love pets and I have dog myself. And one day, unfortunately, I had to clean up a dead kitten off the road because it was killed by the car. It was really traumatic. I called the police and animal control. Nobody was able to help us. Actually, Lindsay's team helped us. They trapped all the cats. They neutered them and spayed them and released them back. Since then, we see there are no more kittens, so we don't see as many cats roaming around our houses. I still have to clean up my mulch a lot because they use it as their litter box, of course. But that's like considering, what we had to go through. That's like nothing. I really hope our township will support Lindsay's efforts, and we will have some ordinance that will help her all her work. Thank you.
Will I be able to go to the rest of the meeting soon? Someone in the back. Someone in the back.
Good evening. My name's Alyssa Henry. I live at 8 Monroe Place, East Brunswick, New Jersey. I've been a resident of East Brunswick for about 23 years. I got involved with TNR a couple of years ago. I had a couple of feral cats in my backyard that I was feeding. One cat after another was having babies. So I actually went to a meeting at our VFW Post 133. People for Animals was doing a presentation through Lindsay, and that's how I met Lindsay. I connected with a couple of people, and I actually trapped, neutered, and released these cats into my backyard. So I was good. But my neighboring streets were not doing TNR. So right now, I still have cats I am TNRing. I have a mother cat that is impossible to catch. She just had a litter of 5. So now I'm going to find those 5 kittens homes on my own. So I fully support TNR completely. My husband and my son also help. I transport right now for anybody that needs transport of their trapped kitten to People for Animals in Robbinsville. I'm there by 8 o'clock in the morning. These cats cry in the back of my car. I'm sorry, I'm getting upset. Because they are so scared. They don't know what's happening to them. They are covered with blankets. I can transport 3 or 4 or 1, whatever is needed. I will also pick up these cats and bring them back and release them. It is the saddest thing you ever want to see because you want to keep them all, but you cannot. I recently started volunteering along with my son at Sammy's Hope. It's definitely giving back to the community and seeing that these cats are being taken out of places that there were horrendous conditions, and loving families come and adopt these cats. So it can be done in East Brunswick. We can save these cats. So I really implore you to do the right thing, update your codes, and let the TNR process begin. I do have another comment to make. I am a Jewish resident of East Brunswick, New Jersey. My son graduated East Brunswick High School. He is an Eagle Scout. And I am very proud to be a resident of East Brunswick and a Jewish resident. I just want to comment 2 things about the yearbook. One, the Jewish children's pictures was replaced. We don't know who did it, but their picture was replaced by somebody in that high school. Number 2, the Jewish names were erased. That's all I have to say.
Wahid Bajwa, 47 Egger Street, East Brunswick.
Spell the first name.
Waheed.
And your address?
47 Eggers Street, East Brunswick.
Go ahead, thank you.
Council President, council members, Mayor Cohen, thank you for recognizing me. So I just want to mention a few quick things about the events that have been happening in our community last week. We are a proud community of diverse citizens, and the events of last week are trying to create a divide between our community and people who are, whether they are from the Jewish faith, from the Muslim faith. We can kind of understand where the outside forces come from. They are more on the fringe right of things that try to attack and try to pit these communities against each other. So I won't belabor the point of what happened with the yearbook. I will try to keep it short, and I have only 3 requests from the council and also if people who are listening here. One is for people who are not fully aware of the anguish that the children, the Muslim children, faced in response to this yearbook saga. I encourage everyone, the recording for the Board of Ed meeting is out. I encourage everyone to hear their testimonials. They were brave enough to go there, most of them, except a couple who felt threatened and they did not feel comfortable going there. They went there, they talked about the threats they have received and how they have been implicitly assumed that they had something to do with it. So that's one request, at least the entire council members, every member, I request that they do watch that to understand the pain that they are going through. Second, we already have an investigation going on regarding the incident that happened to the Jewish club. So hopefully that will be resolved soon. There is another point, though, I want to make. So that's one group of group of victims. We have another group of victims, which are the Muslim children. And I talked after the Board of Ed meeting to the Board of Ed, and they said that they do not have any way of pursuing any legal aspects. So what I would request is if the township could look into if any crime was committed, if any laws were broken, when the pictures of these children were shared widely, if there were, perhaps the township could look into perhaps if there is a way to pursue that angle. And the third is, which is something that Mayor Cohen mentioned in his statement also, is that we need to bring the town towards a healing process where we need to remove the distrust between the different communities. And we hope that, or at least I hope, that this council will try to take up some leadership role and try to take some actions which basically remove this kind of the fissure that is being created, and we can really live as a citizens of a harmonious town. So, thank you.
I'm coming to the high school kids next, if it's high school.
Hello, my name is Denise Morgan. I live in Sayreville, New Jersey. I run Sayreville TNR. We've trapped and neutered over 1,300 cats, preventing thousands of being born. I'm not going to read my whole speech because I just want to say a couple of things. This is running so successfully in Sayreville because we have an amazing Animal Control Associated Humane Society, and I have an equally amazing Rescue, CASA Rescue, who also funds my TNR efforts. I don't get kitten calls as much as I used to get because we are TNRing so many cats. There just are not so many kittens anymore out there. We don't get nuisance calls as often. There is no howling and screaming and screeching because the males are neutered, so they're not spraying and they're not fighting. East Brunswick cats can make it into Sayreville. So whether you think that your TNR efforts of, just poor Lindsay and her team don't affect my town that's successful, it does. So when you're saying, oh, we don't need it and look the other way, it's affecting my town, so I take it personally. Hoarding situations, they come from TNR not being practiced in the town. The people are afraid to feed the cats outside. They want to help the cats because they have compassion. They're compassionate when they feed these cats. They take them inside, and then they lose control. So now they have sick kittens and sick cats and multiplying cats, and now the weather is better in your house, so now they breed more, and they cause even a bigger issue. Those people aren't to be penalized. Those people are to be supported and helped so this doesn't happen. TNR fixes that. TNR fixes a lot of things. My daughter died of breast cancer. She left her son. She always told me, never give up. She wouldn't let me give up on her. And I know she's proud of me because I will never give up helping East Brunswick, helping Lindsay get this passed, and I will never give up on the cats in my town. She told me never to give up, and I will never give up. You will see my face here. I don't reside here, but your cats come to my town. I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep supporting this effort. Thank you for your time.
I promised the kids. We have one high school student. Aram, you were the kids around Mrs. Shakur. Go ahead.
Good evening. I'm Hasib Ali, a soon-to-be junior at East Brunswick High School.
Give us your, just don't give us your address. Give us your name.
Hasib Ali.
Spell that for me.
Haseeb space Ali.
We can always get you through the high school. Just need your name.
So I'm also here to talk about the yearbook incident. And I moved to East Brunswick about a year and a half ago. And before moving here, all I heard about was how good the community was and how beneficial it would be to me as a student and as a citizen. And that was the case for most of my time here until about a week ago. I'm not here to discuss about anti-Semitism or anything like that, but to speak about the lack of protection from the hate being targeted towards us as a Muslim body. Mayor Cohen also made the situation worse as he made a press release based on assumptions, which ended up indirectly putting blame on Muslim students without full investigations. The press release put a clear divide in the community. As I stated in my previous statement last Thursday at the Board of Ed meeting, all we have been hearing about these past couple of days is how the Jewish community is hurt. But we, the Muslims, have been forgotten and have been given the bare minimum. We aren't any different from the rest of the children in East Brunswick. We too deserve the proper attention and support anyone else would. We've been overlooked and seen as sort of like the party that doesn't really need attention, as we've been receiving hate, like bad comments and everything, and death threats, and there hasn't been really that much public protection towards that, and even he's been sending out these messages saying about how he's trying to address both sides, but we've clearly seen that the Jewish community has been receiving more attention than we have. And I just wanted to emphasize that we too need the protection that we need. Thank you.
Good. All right, the young man and then the younger man. I was trying to be nice. And you are?
My name's Abdul Wahab Yusuf.
You are again?
Huh?
I didn't hear your name.
My name is Abdul Wahab Yusuf, ABDUL-WAHHAB.
EBHS?
Yes. I stand here because I'm deeply concerned about the recent incident and the subsequent response, which has left many in our Muslim community feeling vulnerable and unheard. While we understand the importance of addressing the anti-Semitism, we cannot ignore the way that the situation has unfolded. The fact that a press release was issued based on an assumption before a full investigation indirectly placed blame on Muslim students and created a clear divide in our community. We appreciate the mayor's commitment to represent all citizens, but actions speak louder than words. We have heard numerous expressions of support for the Jewish students, which is commendable. However, the response towards the Muslim students is very little. However, whose faces have been plastered across national news has been glaringly different. Where is the same level of vocal support? Where are the concrete actions to protect these minors who are now subject to the potential backlash and fear? Let me be clear. This is not about diminishing the severity of anti-Semitism. This is about demanding equal support and protection for all members of our community. We, the Muslim community, especially the students whose images have been circulating, deserve to feel safe and supported. We urge you to stand with us to amplify our voices and to demand accountability and actions from our leaders. We must come together as one community against all forms of hate and prejudice. And I said last week at the Board of Ed meeting that I was called a terrorist in EBHS. I would like to know what you guys would do to ensure my safety in school and out of school. Thank you very much.
I'm going to take one more, and I'm going to close the public portion. I'm going to take this gentleman, yep.
I'm sorry, I was confused. I'm still considering myself young man, so I was confused before.
Name and address, sir.
Amr Dessou'i, 19 Rath Lane.
And is that in East Brunswick?
Yes.
Okay. You have the floor.
Thank you. So I do present myself as a proud resident of East Brunswick for more than 6 years for now. But unfortunately, today I'm presenting myself as a concerned parent of 2 kids in East Brunswick that their picture appeared in that controversial public book story last week. So I'm very worried and concerned that their picture appeared in this context and spread virally, nationally and internationally, especially that this is associated with hateful comments, terrorism, comparing them to KKK and many other stuff that they heard with their ears last week. So the responsible way that the Board of Education demonstrated in handling the situation last week made us feel a little bit better than before. However, the reason I'm here today is because, unfortunately, a public statement issued from this elected government body negatively contributed to this situation, in my opinion. Sorry. Sorry for that.
Technology.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I do believe that someone serving in public office should have and demonstrate certain qualities, among them knocking down on rumors or anything threatening social peace, overcoming his personal biases, and leading people to come together. And here I saw exactly the opposite, unfortunately, in my opinion. So, more concerning to see the situation categorized as anti-Semitic before any investigation outcome and unnecessarily mentioning Muslims in the context in an official statement. I don't understand jumping to baseless conclusions and positioning Muslims as being the opposite of Jews and vice versa, while I do believe that it's completely the opposite. We are all people of belief, worshiping the same God. So, but in a critical, and also this is happening in a critical time that he should exert an extra effort to bring everyone together rather than fueling something that can fuel social media storms like what happened last week. I'm hereby requesting a clear apology for this situation, and if unable to demonstrate the required qualities, in my opinion, to be serving in a public office, to simply leave it. Thank you so much.
Close the public portion. we'll do a 2-minute recess in case you want to skedaddle or if you want to stay for the rest of the meeting. Anthony, you got that? No, it's not. I'll try it again. Moving on to our consent agenda.
Can we separate 24?
If you read the,
Can we separate 24, 183?
I'm going to have, I'm delirious right now. Next week, Tom. Could you read the consent agenda statement?
The following items, Resolutions 24-183 through Resolution 24-195. The following items are considered routine and non-controversial items by the Township Council and will be enacted upon by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda to be discussed and voted on following the approval of the remaining items listed on the consent agenda.
Thank you. We're not separating anything, but Mr. Criscuolo, could you just give us a couple?
No, I'd like to separate 24, 183.
Oh, is that the liquor license?
Yes.
You want that separate?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know that, Councilman Wendell. No, we'll come back to that. What was it, 191?
183.
183, that's the first one in the, so could I have a motion for 184 through 194?
So moved.
Second?
Second. Through 195.
195, I have 194 in my, I'm looking at the wrong, probably, agenda, that's okay. 183 through 195, motion?
184 through 195.
184.
Motion approved.
Second. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Hall?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Yes.
Councilwoman Nzimbiki?
Yes.
And Council President McAvoy.
Yes. So let's go back to 183.
Yes.
And I'll begin with Mr. Criscuolo. Can you just make some comments on that? I think that's the liquor license.
I don't understand what. I don't.
What's the question, Mr. Wendell? The question?
Question is pocket licenses. How long are they allowed to stay in pocket? The other question is this imperative that we do this tonight? Is there a time clock on it?
Well, the pocket license issue, I would defer to our two attorneys that are here. And tomorrow, when are these licenses due to expire?
They expire the end of this month. So they're all up to be, they have to be renewed by July 1st. If they're not renewed, then they have to obtain, if they're going to continue to maintain the integrity of their license, secure a permit from the state. But they are required to be renewed every year.
Well, my issue is the pocket licenses, and I brought this up last year. I don't like licenses staying in pocket for long periods of time. It's my understanding that the state only allows a pocket license to be in pocket for 2 years, and the council can continue to renew it, but ideally, it's supposed to be activated within 2 years. That's been my experience. And what I would like to do is get a copy of the state statute on this and notify these pocket license holders of when their 2 years expires, put them on notice now, and let them know that something needs to be done by this time next year with that license, or we're not going to renew it.
Council President, is there only one in pocket?
Two. It's on the,
If these people don't get the license, Jim, now, they're not going to be able to open.
right, well, I mean, they're being held in pocket, which means they're not attached to any
Property.
any business right now. Someone bought it and is just holding it, and not operating a business in town. And from my perspective, two things. We struggle to have the number of licenses we have, and in addition to that, with these licenses staying in pocket, it's affecting our tax revenue.
Jim, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
Council President. So in terms of one of the pocket license, that license is a brand-new license that we issued as a township based on population change. So that's one of the two pocket licenses that we have. And the second one is really one license that has been pocketed for quite some time. However, last year, any license that is pocketed for 2 years, or any license that is inactive for 2 years, they must secure relief with the director, and they did secure relief. And they're also, due to the recent legislation or legislative changes, they have a blanket protection that allows them to renew the license without having to obtain relief for this year, for this.
But they don't have blanket protection for, next 5 or...
No.
Yeah.
With the new legislation, there's been some changes, and this particular license...
That's why I'd like to find out what the legislation exactly states and notify these people. I understand the one you said that was just issued and just sold by the town, that should be given a little bit extra time because it's sold to a redeveloper, and, they purchased it prior to even starting the construction.
Council President, can I make a suggestion in approving all the other ones except for the one that's the Anna, approve all the other ones and ask our attorney to get the get the law that does that, so at least we have the body or the bulk of them completed, and then for the 24th of June, we'll relist this and give our attorney some chance to do some research, and what Tamar said makes some sense, and to make sure it satisfies your question.
Cutting it real close, though, aren't we, with regard to, Mayor Cohen, please chime in. Cutting really close if we're looking at a May 1st, all of this,
July 1st.
I'm going to say paperwork has to be completed so that this guy can open. And I don't, and I...
No, it's in pocket, Council President.
Okay.
So they don't have an establishment.
Council President, can I just add, the legislation was completely revamped earlier this year. The state statute was issued. Right now, there's no regulations in place on the legislation, so the attorneys were waiting for regulations to provide guidance as to how to implement the new legislation. I'd be happy to provide the new legislation and a memo advising what the current statute is, subject to receiving the regulations. Okay.
What do you think, Mr. Wendell?
I like Mr. Crisculo's suggestion.
Okay. I just don't want any business to be affected.
No, I would amend this to remove the pocket license, the one that's been in pocket for a long time, not the newly issued one.
Because the newly issued one is going to...
Russo Development owns it.
Russo?
Yeah.
We really shouldn't be differentiating between someone
Well,
like
theirs was just issued this
I
year.
don't want that any...
The other one's fine. This one here is fine. We're talking about this, we're removing this one from this resolution tonight. So I'd ask the attorney to make sure, word it so Tamar has correct direction in order to modify the resolution and what you're going to approve or disapprove. Go ahead. You know what I'm saying, Anthony?
Are you going to approve it this evening or the next meeting?
Next meeting.
Yeah, I would just...
No, the current licenses, I thought this evening.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then
And just
for
look
that.
into the last one.
Look into the last one.
Okay.
That's what I think Mr. Wendell's agreeing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll remove East Brunswick GRP Incorporated Sunny Palace, which is in pocket, and we'll improve the rest. Correct?
Where does it say that?
Sunny Palace is not in pocket.
It says pocket on here.
They're inactive, really. They have an establishment, so, they still own that. I'm not sure if they owned it or if they rent it, but they still have an establishment in which the license is linked to. And they're actually trying to reopen business this year. So right now, I don't know when, but they're planning to reopen.
I think that you've got two, you didn't see the other one. There's 3 pocket licenses on this page. Next to Sunny Palace, it doesn't say it on the right-hand side, but it's a pocket license. If I understand Mr. Wendell, he's concerned about that one, which has been on the market for years now and is just being held and not utilized. We'd like to, I think you're asking that you look at what the issue is under the new law for them and for the last one.
Yes.
I don't think we have an issue with the one that was just sold within the last couple of months. Correct?
Agreed.
Correct.
So I'm assuming that you're okay with amending it to pass on everything other than the Sunny Palace and the last listing here for tonight, and to get back to this council in enough time to make a decision about the file, those two.
They're already in pocket, so it's not going to hurt the business that's
Right.
open, if you get what I'm saying.
So
Except for Sunny Palace, because they're trying to open, but they will need a license, an active license.
That's what they're telling you. They've been trying
Right.
to open for the last 4 years. They haven't done it, so they're holding it.
And they need a CCO, so they'd have to go to construction anyway in order to open, so we got a little time.
Okay.
So just to summarize, Resolution 24-183
Right.
is being amended by deleting the pocket license with regard to East Brunswick GRP, Sunny Palace, and with regard to pocket license regarding Anna Cienkiel. Is that correct? Okay.
Okay, I'll make
All
the
right.
amendment.
Anyone make a motion?
So moved.
We'll vote on that? Take a roll call?
That's what I think.
I'm sorry, who first?
Are you good?
Yes. Councilman Bahal?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zambiki?
I think he's right.
Yes. And Council President McAvoy?
Yes. Okay, so we're done with consent. Ordinance 2412. Township Clerk?
An ordinance amending Chapter 144 Garbage, Refuse, and Recyclables of the Township Code of the Township of East Brunswick, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey.
May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Mr. Crisculo, a quick comment?
Yes, this is the modifications necessary when we went to the new collection system. So we needed to update the ordinance to make it current with the new collection system.
Thank you. Discussion from council? Roll call, please.
Councilman Bahal?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zambiki? Councilwoman Zambiki? Yes. And Council President McAvoy?
Yes. Ordinance 24-13. Township Clerk, please read.
A bond ordinance providing for various school capital improvements in and by the Township of East Brunswick, County of Middlesex, New Jersey, pursuant to a shared services agreement with the East Brunswick Board of Education appropriating $1,100,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $5,795,000 in bonds or notes of the township to finance part of the cost thereof.
May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Mr. Crisculo?
This is the bond ordinance for the school financing for their buses and so on.
Thank you.
So goes hand in hand with the other one to help our taxpayers.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Bahal?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zambiki?
Yes.
And Council President McAvoy?
Yes. Ordinance 24-14. Council,
A bond ordinance providing for lighting for the cricket field at Heavenly Farms in and by the Township of East Brunswick, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, appropriating $630,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $600,000 in bonds or notes of the township to finance part of the cost thereof.
may I have a motion?
Motion approved.
Second?
Second.
We don't need a discussion. We're pretty clear on this one, right? Roll call, please.
Councilman Bahal?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zambiki?
Yes.
And Council President McAvoy?
Yes. Ordinance 24-16.
15, an ordinance of the Township of East Brunswick, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 61 of the Township Code.
Motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Mr. Crisculo?
Yes, we had a couple of issues over the last couple of weeks, and I've worked with several members of the council and the public and the police department. We identified where some grass was actually blocking the sight lines for people to make proper turnage, seeing clearances and so on. So I worked with the police department, Captain Keenley, Wade Gordon, and our attorney to discuss this item. But tonight, as you put in the consent agenda, we placed a lien on that property on Fresh Ponds Road when we declared the emergency. We just wanted to clarify and make it very clear in our code that it's not ambiguous, that if the police department deems it as a public nuisance, public safety is required, that we can take this immediate action without any question.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilman Bahal?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zambicki?
Yes.
And Council President McAvoy?
Yes, for the good of the cause? Sorry?
One more.
Oh, 16?
Yeah.
An ordinance of the Township of East Brunswick, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 3 of the Township Code to amend the definition of managerial executives.
Motion?
So,
Do I hear a motion for this?
you wanna-
Do you want to do an explanation first?
Explanation?
Sure.
So, the Township Ethics Board is recommending that the Township Council consider amending the Township Code with regard to the definition of managerial executive for the purpose of filing the annual financial statements. There's a new definition that's contained in a New Jersey Administrative Code, which specifically lists, I believe, 33 positions that have to file the annual financial statement, instead of making a determination as to whether who is a manager and who is not. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay.
Motion to adopt.
Second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Bahal?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zambicki?
Yes.
And Council President McAvoy?
Yes. For the good of the cause.
If I may,
Yes.
just for recognizing you, Council President, and your induction into the St. Joe's Athletic Hall of Fame, as an individual this time, I think that's a hell of an accomplishment, and you must have had a hell of a record in school. So, congratulations. Show off that ring.
Well, it's interesting.
Show that ring off.
The one thing that's really interesting, and it was talked about at the table, there's like 4 records. You got to be kidding me! You can't beat those records by now. I mean, I'm out of school. 50. I'm no youngster anymore. So that's real interesting. But thank you for those kind words.
Show that ring to the camera. Lift it up.
Well, we got a ring. I don't know. I wasn't going to wear the ring tonight because it's our meeting. It's not Kevin McAvoy's night. And the wife said, "Put the ring on." Case closed. Here I am.
That's right.
But thank you for those complimentary comments. Yes, please,
Mr.
Councilwoman.
Criscuolo, I'd like to thank you once again for your very, very swift action when we identify a hazard on the roadways in our township. The property on Fresh Ponds and Hardenberg has been cleared of the high grass, and it is once again safe to move out into the road there. And I just appreciate that you're always on top of it, and this isn't the first time you've possibly saved or likely saved people from an accident, and grateful for that.
As I always say, it's a team effort here in East Brunswick. I talked with Captain Keenley. They sent out a patrol car. They took a look at it, took a picture, deemed it as a hazard, talked to Ed over in Parks, him and Will. It was already almost 4 o'clock, went out there immediately and took care of it. So it's always a team effort here in our township, and I'm proud of that.
Okay. One more thing, Council President. Regarding ordinance 24-13, I think we should just reiterate to the public that not to be divisive, but given recent budget situations with the Board of Ed and the difficulties they're having, the public should know that we deliberated deeply on these issues, and that we push for as much transparency as possible for what they're spending the money on. And we will continue moving forward to watch very closely to make sure that our taxpayers' money is being allocated with the embracing best practices. Thank you.
Motion to adjourn with the, I take that back. No adjourn.
First, the Saturday, the township's going to be holding their first Juneteenth flag raising. It starts with the Lost Souls Project at 1:30, and then probably around 3 o'clock for the flag raising. So we hope we have some people coming out to join us for that. I'm sure it's going to be a very moving ceremony. And then my other point, a lot of people here speak about the most recent Board of Ed meeting. I was there for the 4.5-hour marathon meeting that occurred, and it was very full of emotion. It was sad, it was disheartening, and it was also inspiring. Many of the students that spoke that night, honestly spoke more eloquently than most adults do or can. They had a lot of great messages for our community, and I think we here in the township have avenues to try to help that healing process, because that's definitely the message that came across. There needs to be some healing going on, and we do have those avenues. We have the interfaith clergy group that can help us. We have the Human Relations Council that can help us. So I think maybe that's something we need to look at as what can we do? What events can we create coming forward sooner than later to try to pull these groups together? And because we are one East Brunswick, and we need to make sure that we emphasize that and that we do our part in assuring that everybody does feel included. So that's something I would like to take a look at with council and see what events we could create using the resources that we already have established. That's it.
Yeah, I just wanted to echo what the council. I got it. Just wanted to echo what the councilwoman said, that the purpose of then the fact that we have and are proud of such a diverse community that we have here means that we do have people that are well-meaning and want to do the right thing. The comments that I made regarding the anti-Semitism, I don't take back, because as a family member who has a long history of people who were victims of the Holocaust, I can and will not take back anything about eliminating individuals or the way in which somebody perceives something as anti-Semitism. Doesn't change. To me, this was an anti-Semitic event. What I didn't say was that there was anybody to blame, and that the end result will be determined by an investigation. Unfortunately, the sad effect of that statement, which is a fact, was that it unfortunately unleashed the worst parts of the community, and that is hatred. And some of the comments that came out afterwards were really terrible and hurtful, and affected whether it's the Muslim community most directly affected by some of those nasty comments, or students themselves that were on the yearbook. I made a post regarding my feelings about that, and that should never happen. For that, we need to try to work harder for all of us to have taken what was seen as an attack or an act on one particular community, and then it resulted in hate, and hate doesn't solve hate. So I think that we need to act very quickly to identify those sources, whether they're the ones you identified. There's organizations and professional groups that do this. We have a bevy of people that live in our community who are psychologists and individuals that work in dealing with helping to solve these type of issues, but the talent and the professional help is out there, and I think we need to work at making sure that we heal, because I do believe underneath all of it that we moved here for the same reasons. We wanted a good education, a safe community, a community that values and recognizes the good in each other and the value of its diversity, and we need to get back to that. There were calls that I've had over the last couple of days to take even more interviews, and that's only inflames an already inflamed situation. That will not, we've not taken any of those and told them they will not, that the effort of the town now will be at healing. And I mean that sincerely. I think we all need to play our part in doing that, and I think that we can. As far as the results of an investigation, again, that is on the Board of Education. When they are completed with their independent investigation, those results will be made available to the public. But that doesn't mean that we can't start the process of healing among ourselves now. Thank you.
Okay, with a vote of aye, we can adjourn. Aye. Good night.